to actively break bad habits. Welcome to another episode of Who Got the Aux Podcast. We cannot sit around and think because your birth sign or you saw the number 1111 or whatever little mythical thing, those are great to, help you look at life on a simple basis. But at the end of the day, you have to actively break bad habits. It's like weight gaining. I can sit on a couch, and this is from a Bill Burr joke, one of my favorite comedians. You can sit on a couch and gain weight. You can do nothing and gain weight. You can just eat, enjoy your life, stay up late, watch all your favorite shows, just go about your life and gain weight. It happens like that. You cannot lose weight doing nothing, right? You have to eat. What's the word I'm looking for? Not effectively too, but you have to consciously eat, right? You have to purposely buy certain things that isn't going to make you bloated, that isn't going to make you, gain weight, that's going to help you lose. You have to go to the gym, you have to run, you have to stretch, you have to drink gallons of water is what they're telling you, right? There's a whole plan that goes into getting in shape. Not even necessarily losing weight. That's usually everyone's goal, but it's just getting in shape, being healthy, right? You can be any size and be healthy. You don't have to all just lose weight and be healthy. But there's a plan that's put in place, right? When you try to get a job, you don't just, oh man, that person looks like they can do the job. Even if you're qualified for the job won't know that you're interested or qualified unless you put a plan together to let them know. What is that? A resume. You reach out for interviews. You reach out and apply for jobs. If you get the interview, you dress a certain way. You speak a certain way. You do research on a company to make them know that, oh, wow, this person is taking this opportunity seriously. This is someone we can use, right? Anything that's worth going for in life usually requires a plan of action. You want to go on a nice vacation. These examples can keep going on, right? You don't just sit on your couch and end up in Jamaica, right? You got to save, plan, prep, reserve, all types of stuff, right? So the same concept goes into place when it comes to bad habits. How you got them, most of them is not our fault. It's upbringing, it's the families we grew up in, things that was passed down to us, right? So you're already starting off behind, right? Because you got to make up for things that's been traditional in your family, some things that your family still do. And you might only do it because you don't want to ruffle feathers. You don't want to come off as if you're better than or you think differently, right? There's a lot of little things people deal with when trying to get rid of bad habits, but you see it on the wall. It's like everywhere in the world or everything points to saying these eating habits are bad. This way of thinking is bad. But then when you look up, it's your mother, it's your father, it's your best friend, it's your brother. It's like, well, how do I differentiate myself without making it seem like I'm better than? These are the deeper stuff that goes into the habits. I know on the surface, it's just like, you got to eat, sleep, think, train, read books, go to sleep at 8. That's all great. But there are things that they don't discuss. Like changing yourself means you're possibly being the complete opposite of everyone you grew up with. And then you can, that's energy that's going to come your way that some people, if they aren't changing for the right reasons, the sacrifice might not be worth the relationship's loss. Right. So that's another mindset you have to put yourself in. But you have to put a plan together to break these habits. One of the simplest ways, the things I've done, I can do it now on the fly. But if you're one of those people that, either you feel like you don't have any flaws or you keep wondering why you always end up in the same situation or whatever the case may be, I would just say, be honest with yourself. You don't have to share this with anyone else. And I always say that because you can get the real answers when you're raw honest with yourself. But sometimes you can't be raw honest because that may affect a relationship here. That may have someone look at you differently. You might get unwanted opinions, right? So I always say, keep it to yourself. Write a list down of all the things you think are qualities that may hold you back from achieving whatever goal, or just in general. We are aware if we're procrastinators. Me personally, before, procrastinator, didn't really take the time, didn't do too much research, into anything I was getting into when I was rapping or making beats. Like, I just wanted to learn something quickly and put it out to show I'm doing it, and I want your support. And you see a lot of people still doing that now, right? Didn't seek out information, always avoided the hardest road, right? I was always trying to find a way to do the least amount of work to get the biggest amount of reward, the biggest reward on the other side. That was me before. What else? I don't even have a list, but I could just tell you because, you know, it's easier to admit it when you've changed the habits, right? I didn't put the man hours into what I was doing. I wasn't working as hard as I could. I wasn't dedicating myself to the craft for the dreams that I have. I wasn't going above and beyond. I wasn't taking it seriously. Like I say, I was just doing just enough. I was more worried about showing you I could do it than actually doing the work. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Or am I just speaking about myself? I was more concerned about, look, I'm rapping, look, instead of becoming a rapper, actually understanding metaphor. Like, I knew how to do it, but understanding it, more metaphors, similes, hooks, songs, bridges, choruses, instruments. And I remember all my beats I used to make back in the day, I had no bass in them. Think about it. And when I listen to like lo-fi, hi-fi, or some of my favorite beats, it's because the bass line is one of the illest bass lines I ever heard. But it was so hard, I didn't have a musical background, and I just wanted the drum pad. The bass line is kind of silky smooth. You kind of got to know some type of range to kind of commit to it. And instead of me just learning and watching and researching, like I think back now, the habits I have now, I would have been great at anything I've done, I feel like, but I'm great at this right now. But those were the things. So you may look at it as, oh, that's being hard on yourself or being down on yourself. But I looked at that as an opportunity, right? And now this mindset that I have is also something like, I don't really know if I don't know if it's something you can put into yourself. You just got to want it. Like, I wanted change. I guess that's the point. You got to get to the point where you really want change. Like, you constantly, that was me. I'm like, I tried the rapping. I tried the podcast. I tried this. Like, I'm here. I'm back again. I've been making beats since MySpace days. And I just found myself not successful, and I was just like, I'm tired of this. So I got to my tired of this point, and I wanted to change, right? Because I said, okay, if I got this much success doing nothing, just off sheer want and talent, how far could I go if I actually put in the real work? And so I had all those things written down. And I was like, okay, well, procrastinating. How can you be better from procrastinating? So, okay, well, if I want to put a video out, like last year, I wanted to put my Ellen show video out for Christmas because that's when she does her 12 days of giveaway. Well, I was already planning for that in July and August. I already had that written down. I was already thinking of the intros and how I would do it and the graphics and the B-rolls. See, that's how you get rid of procrastinating. Instead of waking up the day of or the day before and let's put this thing together. That's that kind of, and then that just goes, that was one example, but just setting up my whole thing. Like, if I knew I wanted to release my first podcast last year on February 6th, well, you best believe December of that following year, November, I'm already making graphics. And I have videos. I was putting out test videos leading up into the main show. But that was just making sure I knew how to use my equipment, making sure, I was making graphics, had sound banks and all that stuff, and just making sure everything was good. So when the show dropped, I was good to go instead of waiting till the last minute. That's the procrastination one. Learning. The learning flaw, right? Just trying to do just enough just to launch. I'm just going to learn. I was like, there's no way I'm going to spend money on the camera that I did and on the equipment that I did and not know how to use it in and out. That was kind of like my deal with myself. I was like, bro, if you're not going to actually take the time and learn that nerdy stuff and all that other stuff that like engineers and photographers and, people behind the scenes know, then don't spend your money on that. What's the point? If you're going to do the bare minimum, you can go get a camera that does the bare minimum. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of people go spend money on expensive things because that's what they were told to do. And then they just learn how to do like 2 or 3 features on it. And this camera is worth that much money because it has 1 million features on it. And you're using 2 or 3 that you can do with a point and shoot or something like that. Save you thousands of dollars. But I went and took LinkedIn learning classes on camera, on photography, on exposure, on lenses, on aperture, even in the language, like just learning why, the whys and what and how, and looking at the settings. And you click that, and I have Sony videos saved because I have a Sony camera. I was reading the book that it came with, just to see if there was other stuff, right? But that was the commitment that I decided to make moving forward. I'm giving you these examples not to brag and say, oh, this is what I did. What I'm saying is that's how it worked for me. It's putting those flaws out on Front Street. No one knows about it. Y'all know now. I'm telling y'all about it. And worked on them. During that time, there was no content coming out. There was no new episode, new album, new whatever. There was nothing. I was quiet because I was focused. We're so busy on trying to hurry up and get online as if online is going to expire soon. Is it like it's bread or something? Like, yo, I gotta get my podcast on before online goes out of style. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be here. So instead of just constantly not expiring, but what's the word? Fatiguing your following. Because that's a lot of things we do and content creators do. Like, people want to support you, but after like the 4th, 5th, 6th new business ideas, like, all right. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's respected that you're trying, when people don't see the effort put in, when people just constantly see like you're just jumping out the window trying to get the money real quick and then you disappear, you fatigue your audience, right? So instead of doing that, I was like, all right, I had the MySpace bees, yo, click the link, support. And everybody's like, oh, that's dope. And then I had when I got Fruity Loops and went to Facebook, yo, new beat, click the link, SoundCloud, click it, run it up. It's like, okay. Cool. It's like, I'm rapping now. New mixtape, ran it up. Got a new show, ran it up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then new podcast. We did 150 plus episodes. New podcast Tuesday, new podcast Wednesday. Apple, support. It's like, at that point, I feel like I probably fatigued my audience. So I disappeared, got low, stopped posting stuff, didn't say that the podcast was over, didn't say a new one was coming, then just learned and just studied and learned and became a nerd and became obsessive with this tech and with all this information. Because my point was, whether people like it or not, I just want to say that I know how to use equipment, because I feel like knowing how to use this equipment, if it don't work on one realm, it could work somewhere else. If this was in the beginning, I know what I'm doing now. But let's say if the podcast or content didn't create, I can go be a photographer. I go be a videographer. I know how to work my stuff. And then I know that I have the habits to go learn what it really takes to be in that field, and I know if I wanted to, I could, basically. But that's what's important. That's actively breaking the bad habits. So my advice would be is to make a list, and if you want to be hard on yourself, be real. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's on your own. No one else is going to see it. So you can be as honest as you want, but understand that that's how you get your answers. That's how you're going to get your answers. As long as you're thinking it's somebody else, or this happened, or, this is the reason. And that may be it. But at the end of the day, that ain't going to change your situation. So you might as well start working within so you can change who you are, so you can change your situation. Whoever, people, jobs, weather, whatever else is affecting you on the outside, even if that's the case, they're not going to change for you to help you. You think they're going to be like, oh, dang, my bad. We didn't know all this outside was making you fail and sad and sorry. No, they're going to continue because they don't care about you in the sense of the grand scheme. You got to care about yourself. You have to be actively breaking bad habits. So that's my message. And I figured it was great too. We're midway through the first month. I know with the weather out here in California for sure, and just being cold and gloomy, that New Year's ball drop, and then, gloomy weather, cold weather, rainy weather, kind of, going to the gym or trying to get out, it might put a damper on your goals. Just don't forget what you said this year. Whether you told somebody or you kept it to yourself, you told yourself that this was your year, that things were going to change, that things were going to be differently. If you find yourself right now sliding back in the old habits, let this be a checkup. Let this be a wake-up call. Like, oh, I'm sliding back into 2022 habits, which I swore this wasn't going to happen again. And get yourself back up. It's still early. It's only January. Think about that. You caught yourself slipping in January instead of doing 6 months and being like, oh, damn, it's July. I didn't waste it. You caught yourself slipping in January. You still got time. You still got time in life in general. But for this year example, it's only January. So get to it. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Who Got the Aux Podcast. WhoGotTheAux.com full audio. Who Got the Aux, one word, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Who Got the Aux _ Twitter. I'm on there. I'm tweeting. I ain't figured out, I'm tweeting. That's the goal so far. It's just to make the page active. And I'm slowly figuring out how to use it like I did TikTok last year. Be sure to subscribe, follow. I appreciate everybody that subscribed, follow. Check out my other video too. I was telling Ben to, leave women alone when they're done with you. And the day after that, I think the Alabama basketball player or something, capital murder, shooting a woman. I had people in the comments like, you shouldn't talk to them like that. You should inspire them. Like, okay, whatever. Till next time, I see you at the next episode. I'm out of here.